Absolute Green Lantern issue 13. Al Ewing writing with ELEONORA CARLINI on the art. And this is another kind of one-shot issue, kind of like fleshing out part of the space lore. So it's set, we're not with Joe, we're not with the cliffhanger we left off last time, much like that issue we did probably about 6 issues ago now. We're just in a standalone story in space, fleshing out a part of the lore. In this case, we're fleshing out kind of the Manhunters and surprisingly Ran. We're getting a lot of Ran stuff here and some related characters to that. And then some stuff that I'm not going to say I entirely understand, but there's things going on and there's shenanigans. So what did you think of this issue, Matt?
I appreciate Al Ewing doing a psychedelic Green Lantern book set on Ran. Did I understand much of this character, which I don't know if we're naming right out the gate? What
you mean?
Shade, the Changing Man?
Yeah, that's what I thought they meant who this guy was. Yeah, he's a Black Star, and he's here to enforce the Black Star rule on Ran, and they are laser beaming. I mean, they do this to their own young apparently, but they laser beam people to like get out the parts of the brain they don't like, so they're just good little soldiers. And it reveals that they've done that to Alana. And she's now there.
Yes, understood all of that. It was how Shade factoring in and how his powers work and the vest, and Shade's just another character that has not, or Shade the Changing Man, as a character that has not ever clicked with me. It's a little bit too out there, but once I just accepted this is what this is, that was all fine. I was super into the Rand stuff because I do love Adam Strange, and so when they introduced Sardath as one of the main scientists on Rand that has been conquered by the Black Stars, right? And they're forcing him to do the stuff, and he's working on the Zeta beam, and it seems like they've broken into like a Phantom Zone like spot, and that's where they're keeping prisoners. But the longer they stay there, the more it seems like they can't handle coming back into the real world, and it breaks their brain. So I liked all that type of stuff. It added this sinister quality to the Black Stars and like what they're capable of, when we finally see them come up against Joe and the rest of them. They also called who we know as the Lanterns, right? So the whole Oa thing, they called it the Cult of Oa, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, there was also another bit of lore here, just to solidify things we've already seen, is the ship that Abin Sur came to Earth with, they call a recruitment ship. So this is somebody that's set out to recruit new members into the Green Corps. So interesting to flesh out things a little bit with that. The whole M Zone thing is I'm pretty sure this is based on a thing that's in the real universe. Is it called the Mystery Zone normally? No. Is it the Mystery? Because usually the M stands for something else, but I think here it stands for Manhunter because we see inside the zone towards the end and the giant Manhunter brain's like, hey, no one escapes the Manhunters kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, they called it the Meta Zone, right? And that's what they're calling it, the M Zone. Yeah. For short. But it was giving me, so I didn't know that was a thing in other books.
I think it is. I feel like I've heard of it before. Yeah.
But it felt very Phantom Zone to me, where they're putting them in there, but instead of them being ghosts, it's just this constant barrage of psychic attack, right? And then it's almost like you can't handle the silence when you come out. And one of the ways they can is like that where they cut out the pieces of the brain. So it's almost like this lobotomy. And when they do that, it seems to leave the mark of the Black Stars, which I thought was a nice touch, kind of across their face. So it marks them for life.
Well, that's got nothing to do with the zone. That's just something they do to mind control people. Well, not mind control, but condition people, I guess is a better way of putting it.
Right, but so, because this is how I took it too, because when it's revealed that Alana, right, is one of these Black Stars now. Right? They had put her in the M Zone.
No, I don't think they did.
Right, and they're...
Her dad just thought they did because that's what they do to a lot of prisoners.
Oh, okay. So that's where I was getting caught up on stumbling and stuff, because I had assumed they had thrown her in there and then pulled her out, and in order to make her not, susceptible to that, and as another little dig to Sardath, is they cut out that piece of rebellion as well, so she couldn't do it. Now she's over there.
I don't think they put her in, but it's based on the way they phrased it. And it sounds like they just do this to like turn people into their soldiers because now those childish ideas of rebellion have been removed, so now they follow our orders. That's kind of what they're doing.
And I like what that means when it comes to like anti-life and we know that the Absolute Universe has been, sculpted by Darkseid. So the fact that this is a thing they do, it takes away all that. It makes them, subservient to, the Black Stars. But yeah, I like all the space lore stuff, and I like how different it is from typical Green Lantern. Because you have Sinestro there, and they're reporting directly to him, and he starts talking about like, oh no, we have another anomaly. This time it's green. That's going to be a thorn in our side, and we don't have to worry about the Tomar Ray from Zudar because Red's not that powerful, right? He's kind of just like a gnat that flies away. We'll deal with him later, but the green's a problem. Well, I do like that served that.
Well, there's a bit more there though, because he says, "Oh, I think we're okay as long as those two don't meet," which is particularly pointed because the end of last issue was Tomar coming to meet Joe. So
yes,
that says that they do have something to worry about.
Yes,
but yeah. So we see Sinestro here, kind of involved in a lot of this, talking to Shade, the Changing Man. And then the other big thing is that when they go in and try and like get whatever scientific experiments were being worked on by Alana's father, there's they find like his prototype Zeta beam, and they're like, oh, is it just a communication thing? It's like, oh no, it transmutes matter. I think this is about getting to and from places. Someone comes out of it. Someone comes out, and it's someone that they don't recognize. It's someone that we barely recognize. Sort of a pulpy female hero. I'm assuming you were in love the second you saw her because she seems like your type. But she is...
Get out of my brain.
She's got like a ray gun. She's got the red hair. She's got the big hips, all the rest of it. And she calls herself something Hawk. But I'm assuming
she's a Black Hawk.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Either she's either Lady Blackhawk or she's some kind of alternate version of Hawkwoman. And the reason why I thought that is because we're on Ran. Because you ran Thanagar, right? That's why like, they're linked in the usual universe anyway. So
and that would also, her name is Emily Hawk, OSS Agent Zero. And it says she was just shooting Baron Blitzkrieg in the face. I was like, yeah. Right the Nazi scourge.
Yeah, so she's
no, I didn't even think about that as a Hawk. I just thought like, oh, she's a Black Hawk. They pulled her from World War II.
That's what
she's right in the middle of things.
Yeah, her appearance and like the way she's talking feels that way. But the fact that we're on Ran made me think, oh, maybe we're doing a little bit of a double meaning here with the word Hawk, because it feels like there's a lot of opportunities here. Now, obviously, we have a Hawkman and Absolute Superman. It's not like we don't have any Hawk related stuff already in that sense. But I still think there might be something there to ponder over for the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I will admit though, when she came out and started blasting her gun and like kicking them in the face, like I enjoyed her beating up the bad guys and saying, "Oh, you're just typical fascists. That's all you guys are."
Yeah,
it's like that was fun enough. I will admit though, that was the part where the book took a bit of a turn for me, where I'm like, what are we doing now? We were doing all this trippy like space lore stuff about Ran and like the way it ties into this the lantern kind of cult of Oa and the way the different colors operate and how Sinestro's kind of in charge or whatever. And then all of a sudden we've got this pulpy hero who not only does she show up, but she ends up fading away. It's a whole big moment towards the end where she sort of says damn and then fades away in front of them, as if she's going back into the M zone, and then that's when we get the big final page reveal of the Manhunter face looking down. So this idea of no man escapes, it's almost like she got out for a minute but then she was mystically pulled back in.
Yeah, well, and just remember with the Zeta beam, it is timed, right? So early on with Adam Strange, when he got pulled, so maybe that's why she can come out for only a certain time, but now she knows. I do like the comparing it to fascism because, again, that goes with the anti-life. That's when, when Kirby had created Darkseid, that's what that's all supposed to represent, right? And, with how Sinestro turned the Green Lantern symbol, right, in the main universe on his home planet, on Korrigar, into kind of that fascistic symbol. I do like that they're playing with those ideas within the Green Lantern book.
Oh, the only thing I would say against that is that I don't think they're compared to fascism. I think it just is fascism. Like, but
like again with the literary of all of that type stuff, and to have this World War II hero come in, right, and snap. She does kill Shade, right? She turns his neck all the way around.
It looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, get him, girl. But yeah, I do like the idea that she is one of the hot girl reincarnation. You know, if we choose to go that way, you know, because I didn't even think about that until you brought it up.
Unless she's, unless Shade is protected by his vest, because it's worth mentioning here, because we didn't make this clear. All his powers here apparently come from his vest that he's wearing. They give him that. Now, obviously, that's not true in the regular universe. I don't think.
No, it is. That's the thing that drives it. He has this like magic dream coat type scenario. It allows him to
you could tell
force hallucinations.
You could tell
I've
not read a lot of Shade the Changing Man.
Yes, I've tried a couple times, and it's just not for me. So, but I am familiar enough with the base when they called him by his name, and then with Shade, I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. And that's actually the most I've understood his powers, with him saying like, oh, it takes the form of what with whatever you fear, and when the more people are around it, the worse that it gets, because it's pulling from everybody's and making this big huge monster. And I like that she looks it dead in the face and she's just like, okay, cool, I'm gonna shoot at you no matter what.
Well, yeah, because when he uses it earlier on against the others, like, yeah, they see something horrific and they're terrified of it. So it's kind of like this tool that he keeps using. Yeah, I mean, I like the lore here. I'll admit, just like the last time we got a standalone issue, I was a little bit mad that we're not following Joe and what was going on next with that story, because I'm kind of invested in that story, even though a lot of this lore that they're piping in here is quite interesting. So a little bit mixed on that sense. I will say I don't know if I was in love with the art in this issue.
It's a bit Rosmo-esque, but without it going. Like, I almost feel Rosmo would have been a little bit better for the Shade stuff, because it would have been a bit more trippy. This is that one where it almost doesn't go far enough, and then that kind of hurts the regular art as well. But I didn't have that much of a problem when Emily Hawk shows up and it starts to get more traditional and that type of stuff. I was digging it. Her whole fight scene with the monsters, I thought looked real cool. So I didn't have that much of a thing with it, but I was getting some kind of Rosmo-y vibes.
That's almost
like, remember his.
That's almost where I was noticing it more, though, was when she showed up, because it was like, the big hair and the way it was angled out and the way the hips were angled out and all that as she's kicking people and all that. I was just kind of like, yeah, this isn't really my type of art, I don't think. Like, I'm kind of like, I'm glad this will just be a one issue art, because like, I'll be back to the regular artists for the main stuff.
See, for me, it was when Shade's talking to Sardath. And just the way that Sardath looks there, I was like, that's the one that made me go, oh, this looks kind of like Riley Rosmo when he did the Batman Shadow book, right? Where he's trying to keep it contained, but there's little flourishes here and there. So, like, on that page where Sardath's looking at Shade and his hair's coming down like tendrils and stuff. And I was like, okay, it's working really well, and then it cuts down to Alana and you see the mark on her face and she looks pretty normal. And all that other, but yeah, no, I didn't have that much of a problem with it. It's not what we've come to expect from Absolute Green Lantern, but I think that makes it stand out a little bit more.
Yeah, I just didn't like it as much, though, is the problem.
Gotcha.
Like, if it was just different, that'd be one thing, but I think it's really just not to my taste. So I think I got to mark it down a little bit for the art for me, but I love the stuff, them talking about the cult of Oa, them talking about the ship, and talking about the fact that they're invading these other planets, they're building their Black Star Empire, and that the anomalies are a threat to them, that they're concerned about that. That is interesting stuff, because it's building the larger picture whilst everything else is going on. Also, they mentioned that they're the ones moving Mogo, but Mogo moves at his own pace, so it's taking its time. So just little snippets like that are quite interesting. But I'm excited to get back to the main characters, because that's ultimately what I care about the most in the book. Even though the extended lore is quite interesting, the main characters ground it and give me something to focus on and give me something to root for. So I'm excited to get back to them next issue. This wasn't a bad sort of interlude by any stretch. I didn't hate it, and I think it had some interesting bits in there, but it wasn't. Like, I did always have that feeling in the back of my head going, kind of wish it was just the next main issue as opposed to this side thing.
I like how Ewing can shift gears like this on that, and then it makes us be like, oh, okay, gives us a little breathing room, and it reinforces those concepts, because it is still a little bit heady, with the anomalies and the Tomars versus the Abins and all that other stuff. So this gives us a break and kind of reestablishes that the, anomalies in the Cult of Oa and that the ship is a recruiting ship. So there's little breadcrumbs there, and it just reinforces that main story while telling this really fun, pulpy style. It was an Adam Strange issue. It was just that Adam Strange was Emily Hawk this time.
Oh yeah, there was
transported in.
There's still room for an Adam Strange in the Absolute Universe to show up. Although we should also just mention that we never actually said this. Alana kills her father at the behest of the bad guys here. So Shade. just to prove that she is completely on their side now. There's no going back, seemingly.
Yeah, which is someone that does like Adam Strange makes you wonder when he does show up. There is a story there of him trying to undo that thing to her brain, right? And then her having to come to terms with killing her dad, for pushing back and all that, and it adds this a little sheen of darkness to the Adam Strange if it does happen.
I don't know if it will. I don't know if he's ever even going to meet her at this point if he ever does show up, but we can only find out in the future. So, what are you giving Absolute Green Lantern?
I'm giving it an 8.5. I had a lot of fun with this one.
Oh, really? I think I'm just going to go with I'll go with a 7. I like a lot of the lore it's doing. I like parts of it, but I wasn't a big fan of the art, and I definitely felt myself missing the regular story. So, a bit more muted for me.